the affidavit, and he says, yeah, no, I was insolvent, but over 6 years I've elapsed and now I'm automatically rehabilitated. No, I'm sorry, you're not automatically rehabilitated. You have a problem. How do you sort it out? You try and find the trustee and try and get the trustee to consent, because if the trustee doesn't consent, you have a major issue. And hopefully the trustee is still alive. And if it's a company that deals with trustees, you'll need to get a new appointment. And then you also need to deal with it, because remember, if there are bonds registered, why did the bank not put this up? And here I come to another little item that you need to be aware of. When we are dealing with the deeds office, there are a number, I should say, of software programs and service providers where for a fee, for a monthly fee, you may subscribe to them, and then you do searches at each deeds office where these people live, and a search will provide you with a person. You'll do a search on a person's name and identity number, and it will give you, this person owns this property is encumbered, this person was declared insolvent, there's a caveat there, there's insolvency. Now, each and every deeds office receives a list countrywide of all the interim court orders, final court orders of liquidations, insolvencies, rehabilitations. I'm not too sure if they get those orders. It is up to you to get this and obtain copies of the orders and have everything endorsed. But there are books, and you can't always see this online, so you would have to get someone to go in and check references, and they put an S number, sequestration, and you look it up and you check to see the specific client, and you can check. Sometimes you have ID numbers. Latest cases have ID numbers, older cases don't. So you would have to then go to the client and say, listen, I found X, Y, and Z. Is it you? Did you ever live in this area? It could be from the Cape, for example, or up here in Johannesburg. And if it's not that person and they've never lived here, you can have people with the same names, different identity numbers. You then have to obtain copies of all the deeds, and sometimes what happens is they've asked this question. The conveyancer is not the person who prepared the documents, he's acting for other people. It could have been a secretary that asked these questions. That's why it's important. You should never get your secretaries to have documents signed, affidavits signed. You do it yourself, because you need to ascertain and confirm the details. And don't forget, as a notary, if you to your secretary, you are in serious trouble, because they're supposed to execute it before you, the notary. All right? It's one thing your secretary having special power of attorney to execute the document before you, for and on behalf of one of the parties. That's a totally different story. She might have power of attorney from both parties, okay? In which case she signs twice. But you really need to confirm the details. So it's not good enough having affidavits anymore. The responsibility falls on your shoulders. You need to check the facts, and you've got to dig deeper and delve into it. And then, of course, you have to go to the registrar of deeds, the senior, the registrar, not the acting, well, not the acting registrars or deputy registrars, and maybe you have to go to an acting, depends who's there. But they have discretion to assist you in such situations. If they don't and are not prepared to exercise the discretion for whatever reason, because there's a circular by the Chief Registrar's Office which says you can't exercise discretion under such circumstances, it means you have to go to court and obtain a court order. It becomes a very, very difficult process. So please, good people, it's absolutely essential that you check your facts. So we have banks, we deal with cities, metropolitan municipalities. How do you work out who represents them? Well, it's a long, long story there. You just phone up the legal department. The legal department will give an affidavit, will give you a letter which sets out there's a resolution and it's been authorized by another resolution, it's authorized by a further person, by a power of attorney, and so on and so forth. So always pick up the phone and ask when it comes to such entities. Now, the other thing that I need to talk to you about, in addition to description of parties, before we go any further, and we almost, I will not go further than these facts here today. I will leave antenuptial contracts for next week. So please do read antenuptial contracts, donations, wills, and I think trusts. We'll see. I might go through trusts. You don't have the notes on trusts, but we will mail the notes on trusts to you. Hopefully by next week you will have it, but please read through them. I need to go through the annexures for antenuptial contracts. You are going to receive assignment 1. Do question 1 only, because you are not yet ready to do question 2 on the assignment. You only do the first question. Please do attempt it. I'm going to discuss it in the lecture. Then you're going to do question 2, assignment 1, and assignment 2 for the week after that. All right. Now, the other thing that is very, very important. So we've got these platforms you can do searches on for deeds office. It gives you a whole lot of information. The other most important thing is details of properties, immovable property. When I talk about the deeds office, are all immovable property. Now, the deeds office has various registers, as I said to you. You have a township register when it comes to immovable property. You have a sectional register, which is on sectional title units. You have farm registers. You have agricultural holding registers, and you have a whole lot of other things. But these are the most essential ones. And of course, you have lease registers. They are getting rid of the leaseholds as quickly as possible and converting them to freehold. So don't worry too much about that. But the important thing you need to remember is when we're dealing with servitudes especially and leases, we need to know how to describe the properties that these leases and servitudes pertain to. The best bet is asking clients to provide you with a copy of the title deed to enable you to use a proper description. For things like farms, you always have to look at the title description because they are weird. Firstly, let me tell you about an anomaly with the Johannesburg Deeds Office. It is the only deeds office that doesn't have a farm register and an agricultural holding register. That all sits in the Pretoria Deeds Office. Remember, the Johannesburg Deeds Office was opened up to deal with Johannesburg as it became a mining town and a city, and to deal with the expansion of the urban areas, the urban townships that had opened up because it was just too hectic. Also, the deeds officers used to deal with as well. Now we have a separate mining registrar's office. So please bear that in mind. So let me give you an example of how we deal with an urban township. Earth 1234, Yeovil Township. The next line, registration division I dot capital R. I'll explain that to you shortly. We have a few more minutes left. Right. Then we state in which province it is. Province of Gauteng. Measuring or in extent 500 in figures, and then in brackets in words 500 square meters. All right. Held by deed of transfer T 1234/2000. Now, your township register, when you transfer property, you get a new title deed reference number. For townships, urban townships, urban as we call them, one earth, many urban, you have a T in front of the property. If it's sectional title, it's ST. So you know it's a sectional title register. From properties, T. Agricultural holdings, T. Just different registers, and they get different and they get numbers. So the thing is, a township, a property, an earth in a township will be described like that. You can do a search on it and you will get all that I've just given you on the search. You do a search in a certain deeds office for this property, you put the earth number, you put the township name, there might be an extension, you put EXT. Don't ever abbreviate extension when you're dealing with it in your drafting, because that is not permitted, you reject it. Well, not really rejected, but you never know. In Pretoria Deeds Office, they reject everything. Johannesburg, they're acting like Pretoria these. So, the description there, hereinafter referred to as whatever it is we're going to define the property. If we are dealing with a portion of a property, we are going to describe it as a half share, a 1/2 in brackets 1/2, close brackets share, in and to of 1, 2, 3, 4 Yeovil Township, and the rest remains the same. When it comes to agricultural holdings, the description isn't so difficult. We call them agricultural holdings. I've got the description in the notes for you. Again, I would prefer that you look at the title deed reference number. Oh, before I carry on, if you ever come across an earth description with the word 800 DUM next to it, what does it mean? Oh, by the way, we deal, all our earthen are recorded in square meters. Previously, they would be in square feet, English square feet, roots, and the like. Our agricultural holdings and our farms are reflected in hectares. Now, we will have hectares and we will have 4 decimal points after the comma in a hectare. All right. So if the 20,2340 hectares, we put in our description, we put in figures 20,2340, 4 decimal points afterwards, and in brackets you're going to put 20, and then in words 20 comma, I can't remember what I said, 1234230. Okay, close brackets, hectares. All right, so that's the biggest difference with hectares and with farm properties, agricultural holdings, and urban. And the fact that if you have a farm in the outskirts of Johannesburg or in Kempton Park, for example, you would have to go to the Pretoria Deeds Office, not the Johannesburg Deeds, despite the fact that Kempton Park falls under Johannesburg. And Alberton, there are agricultural holdings in Alberton, there are farms in surrounding areas of Johannesburg that fall under Pretoria and not Johannesburg, purely because we don't have a farm register. They're going to move it eventually, but we haven't seen that day arrive yet. In addition to that, for most of you, the jurisdiction of the Johannesburg Deeds Office only goes up to Hyde Park, Johannesburg. Parts of Hyde Park go to Pretoria. All of Sandton is Pretoria. Midrand is Pretoria. There is a funny dividing line, but just to give you that idea. So it is essential that you know how to draft this. The other thing you need to know how to draft is special powers of attorney. We have an example of a special power of attorney under Annexure 2.1 in the notes. What is so important about the special power of attorney, and are you going to be asked to draft it? You need to know what it looks like. Basically what it is a specific power of attorney authorizing you to only act, or someone else only to act on behalf of the party, a party or the parties, in relation to an attached draft notarial deed, which in essence is the actual notarial deed that is going to be executed. It cannot be amended. So you would specify in the document going on. Are you going to be tested on something like that? It's a possibility, but I think there is a lot more and there's greater content that you are expected to know. Good people, I know it's getting late. What I need to please do for me is go through the notes that have been mailed to you. I want you to see if there are any questions you have on any of the descriptions. Remember, send me an email. You're welcome to ask me questions online. I don't mind answering your questions. Type out your question in future. If I feel you're asking a question that I'm going to be dealing with in the next few minutes, I will come back to you later. If I think it's a question that I perhaps have not dealt with, I will raise it immediately in the lecture, or I will finish what I'm talking about and raise it, because it obviously affects everyone. I want you to understand there are no stupid questions in this course. Whatever question you're asking is usually extremely relevant. It could be something I will be dealing with later, but it might be something that I might have missed, something that you've seen in practice. We do try and cover as much as we can, but time is very limited and very short, and it makes it difficult. I welcome questions. Just type out your question and I will deal with it. If you unmute your microphone, it tends to create a bit of a problem. So questions, please, are welcome. Now, please do read ahead. I know it's not easy. It will help us in the lectures for next week, Thursday. Please do also try to be time. We have very limited time. I will take a 5-minute break to let you let you get a drink of water or a coffee or a tea or what have you. But again, please note, we will be dealing with modules 3 and 5, and whatever questions you have from the first 2 modules. I do expect you to please attempt question 1 of assignment 1. Mail you assignment 1. Don't worry about question 2. If you feel after you've read through the notes that you can answer the question, you're welcome to do it, but it is unfair to expect you to answer it when I haven't dealt with anything in the lecture. So, question 1, assignment 1, and read through what we've dealt with, modules 1 and 2, and prepare, just read through it, modules 3, 4, and 5, and I will then deal with all of that next week. Read module 6 as well. I'll mail it. If you don't have time, it's fine. It's not a major train smash. I will try and cover it in the next lecture. However, if we can't cover it, I will deal with it in lecture 3, when we're going to be dealing with notarial leases and notarial bonds. So, with this, I will say good night to you. I bid you have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. I apologize to you, to those of you who have dealt with these descriptions previously. All I can say is it's revision. Again, whatever you have difficulty with, send me an email and I will address it immediately, or I will let you know that I will address it in the next lecture. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you all next week. Take care and read your notes. Thank you.